Hi, it's Malia, and I'm going to present my Magic of the Real project. This project actually began for me in my trip to Los Angeles for studio. We visited a site that my professor is currently building on in regards to modular homes. The site is located right next to three of the major highway systems that are running through Los Angeles. The homes are going to be a modular system that are based around shipping containers. As we walked across the street in the image in the center, we visited a mock-up of the modular home. And as I was leaving and reflecting upon the site with the information that Ian has given us for the day, I walked over to just a pile of rebar and was kind of taken and enamored by even just the sole image of it. Come to find out, someone had been, I think, on their lunch break. This isn't the idea of the story that I have concluded in my head, but someone on their lunch break just made this sculpture, probably on a phone call to their girlfriend or something, and ended up making this wire sculpture that Ian actually let me take home. And it's funny because when I first showed Ian it, he thought it was a joke, and he didn't understand what I had seen in it. But for me, I was really taken back by this wire sculpture, and the wire had bound that rebar together when it was shipped. I'd even began to study this sculpture, I would say right away when I got back to my hotel, and I started to photograph it against the concrete wall. There's something about the play between the concrete and the wire that I was really, I don't know, I was infatuated by. So I turned that into my own sculpture. So the image on the left shows the study that I kind of went through. I knew that I wanted a base for the sculpture to sit on much easier because it does tip over. I have had it in my bedroom currently probably over 3 months, and I look at it every day. And it's a really, I don't know, lovely reminder of the trip that I had, the times, the memories, and all the people that I've gotten to meet this semester. But I dove into this very simply. So I bought a block of mesquite wood, and I tried to find a proportion or a type of wood in just like what it was blocked out as that I thought would work well with my shape. So I found a shape that was just very linear. I measured out, I laid my sculpture on its side and I measured out, and that's the two lines on the piece of paper that are struck from the left to the right. So it's approximately the widest part of my sculpture. And then I played in the 1/3, 2/3 rule, and I knew that my base needed to be 2/3 of the sculpture's width. So it's 10 inches and my sculpture's width is 15. I knew that I just wanted to have a portion of the wire sculpture base to be recessed into the mesquite wood. So I ended up routing out and dadoing out and then hand chiseling out the remainder of that, which is a 1/2 inch recess. And you can see that I was figuring those dimensions out in the center. So I ended up centering the circumference of the circle equal, and then I did about 1 inch off the side. On the right is an image of Jesus helping me plane the wood so that we had a square block to work off of, and then cut down to give me that 1 5/8 inch thick piece of wood that I was looking for, which you can also see those dimensions kind of marked out in the image on the left. So, and it ended up being, I love it. I think it's really beautiful. I just oiled the mesquite wood and let that stand and be. I knew I wanted the base again to be very simple and allow the sculpture to just take its own form. I think the essence of this project and the magic of the real is really rooted in the space that it occupies and not in the sculpture like fully itself. I think there's a lot of void that starts to happen between the far right and the curly tip and even down to the base. I think that is the void that I am drawn to, and not so much the actual sculpture that is twined on the left. So I feel like the results in the atmosphere is just something of like, again, a void and form. I think it's about the space between, like we've talked about many times with Max, very early on in my first semester, about like the moss, the space between. And I feel like that is so true for this sculpture. I think it's not, again, so much about the actual physical wire. I think it's about the space and the void that you feel between it. For me, what is the moving emotional experiences? I think it's just such a happy memory of my trip to LA. And I think I think it's funny, and I still give Ian to this day. Like I sent him a message of what I was doing, told him he's not going to believe it, and because he was so like just his dissatisfaction with the wire sculpture from the beginning, I think has been humorous for me because I've been so in love with it. So I'm just happy to see it to come to life, and it's like a piece of like a token of memory that I get to look at, and I know where it came from, and I think that's what means the most. Thank you.